Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that CN servers have 3 operator subclasses that haven't come to global yet? And in this video we will see all of those upcoming subclasses, and what exactly they do. Starting with the one we should get very soon. We have a guard archetype called Mercenary, with a new operator called Hadia being the only example. She is also the new 5-star from the Red Voucher shop, which should be updated in the Silver Ash Altar event. So, what's this archetype do exactly? They are 2 block guard, with 1 tile attack range ahead of them. They also have an extremely cheap cost, with Hadia costing only 10 DP at Elite 2. But her other stats kinda sucks if I may say. The defensive stats is average to what you often see in guard, but her attack stats is more on the low side, and it makes her performance drop significantly during off skill. As for this archetype trait, the unofficial description said they can consume DP to enhance their abilities, making them a second archetype that can consume DP after Merchant Specialist, but definitely not as reliant on DP. So, how do they consume DP? Well, in her case, one of her skills actually requires DP to activate. Other than that, when she's using skill, if you tap her, you will see this icon, currently called Equipment Response. If you have enough DP you can activate it, and Hadia will enhance her skill. One of her skills can also be activated straight up with the Equipment Response bonus, by tapping this icon. Now let's see her complete abilities. With her talent, every time Hadia consumes DP, she can stun enemies in range, and permanently increase her attack up to a certain stack. This talent looks like it tries to offset a low attack stat, but this thing can be quite slow to full stack. By the way, this talent actually activates when she consumes DP by deploying, which means you can use her as a heli drop stun unit. And for her skills, skill 1 will only increase her defense at first, but you can choose to make her consume 10 DP to get an attack buff. You can either get the attack buff instantly by tapping the equipment response icon once the skill is ready, or later during skill activation. As for her skill 2, it needs DP to activate, and the skill will give her a couple of enhanced abilities, and you can then consume more DP to prolong the skill duration. Hadia's abilities hasn't really impressed, to be honest, but overall she is an interesting new archetype. Definitely looking forward to what the next operators in this archetype can do, especially the 6-star version. And if this archetype is not a sign we are getting Switch Axe operator in the next Monster Hunter collab, I don't know what is. Moving on, the next new archetype is from Sniper class, and this one is called Skybreaker, with a free unit from Nasty debut event, Skybox, being the only one in this archetype. Skybox is a Skybreaker, another masterpiece written by Mr. Kojima.
Mr. Kojima?
Skybreaker is kinda the opposite of Sky Ranger Specialist. Much like other snipers, they can only be placed on range tiles, and will always be floating, except when using skill. The weirdest part about their trade is that they won't attack ground units when in the air, but will always attack flying enemies, and also block them. Although I don't think you normally want to use them to block flying enemies, or at least those who do damage, because much like other snipers, they are vulnerable. Okay, let's take a closer look at what he can do. His talent allow him to disable enemy special abilities, in other words, inflict silence when attacking an enemy for the first time. Basically Inez talent, but instead of bind it's silence, which is arguably less useful. For skills, in his skill 1, once it's ready he will automatically land for a brief amount of time, and throw a bomb to his target, dealing big AoE physical damage. As for skill 2, he will land and get some ammo. Now his attack with these ammunition will deal critical damage and deal AoE. And when overloaded, or when starting to use the 6th ammo, you can manually deactivate the skill, and he will fire all the remaining ammo to a random target. Personally, I think it's a rather weird archetype. The inability to attack ground enemies during off skill is quite a big drawback. This Skybreaker archetype also reminds me of the Liberator Guard. Just not as much power as them, or at least when he's compared to Tequila. By the way, he is released alongside Nasty. With her skill 3, you can build range tiles anywhere on the map to deploy him. Of course, it's not only useful for him but also for other ranged operators. Okay, let's see the last new archetype in the next 5 months. We got a new medic archetype called Watchman. With this twink called Tiraxacum as the archetype first unit. And he should be available at Wang's debut event. If you think the first 2 new archetypes are weird, then wait until you see this one. Aside from restoring HP, which is what medic usually does, this medic can also fly. A really weird ability to be given to a medic. But I suppose the aim is so that the medic can fly to avoid danger. This medic only heals 1 unit at a time. And has pretty similar stats to a single target medic. For talent, anyone that is in a takeoff or flying state will get a sanctuary and +1 block count, which should also include himself. And this talent seems to be the proof that this medic will also focus on supporting flying operators. For skills, all of his skills will make him fly. In skill 1 he will reduce his healing interval and randomly heal allies within range. Meanwhile skill 2 will increase attack, heal additional target, and also heal other operators that are near the healing target. In my opinion, it's a really weird medic archetype. Giving a flying ability to a medic is technically a good thing, but might be a bit unnecessary, since you always need to put your medic out of the danger anyway. There might be a stage where this flying ability comes in handy for a medic, but I think it will still make this archetype flying ability a nice ability. And who knows, so far anytime a new medic archetype gets their first 6 star, that 6 star is going to be the most relevant medic. Well, maybe TT is arguable. Anyway, we'll see what a 6 star Watchman can do. So that's all the new subclass in CN server. What do you think? That should be all. Adios.